Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupada Brahmanicha Pariyakshashtuta Sadasi Simati Sangresi Siddhanam Samshay Bhagavad Ki Jai. ISKCON Seshadripuram Jai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Brahmanicha Pariyakshashtuta Sadasi Simati Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Shri Guru Kishore Das Bhagwan Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Satchidananda Vaksal Bhakti Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Vaishnava Sabhavan Jagannath Das Maharaj Ki Jai. जय श्री रूप सनातन भट्टर बना श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास नाशक गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय, नमाचार्य दास ठाकुर की जय, प्रेम से शिक्षण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद दास दास गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड की जय, श्री श्री जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महेश्वर सिंह भगवान की जय, श्री मायापुर धाम की जय, श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय, गंगामयी की जय, यमुनामयी की भक्ति देव की तुलसी देव की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव की जय, श्री हरनाम संकीर्तन की जय, ग्रंथ श्रीमद् भागवतम की ISKCON वर्तमान गुरु के समागत भक्तों की कवर प्रेमानंद देव, all glories to the assembled, all glories to the assembled, all glories to the assembled, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gaura, and all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashtaprayeshu Bhatreshu Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtim. Hare Krishna. So, welcome you all to the today morning Bhagavatam class. Today, reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 11th chapter, Sloka 17 and 18. Let's start with Sloka 17. Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavatom Nanu Vishwam Vichakshate Dirha Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishwam Vichakshate Dhirha Yogaradhena Chakshusha Bhagavan Vedakalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishwam Vichakshate Dhirha Yogaradhena Chakshusha. Translation Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O spiritually powerful one, you can understand the moments of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. Those who have reached the highest perfectional stage of mystic power and can see everything in the past, present, and future are called Trikalagnyas. Similarly, the devotees of the Lord can see everything clearly that is in the revealed scriptures. The devotees of Lord Shri Krishna can very easily understand the signs of Krishna as well as the situation of the material and spiritual creations without difficulty. Devotees do not have to endeavor for any yoga siddhi or perfection in mystic powers. They are competent to understand everything by the grace of the Lord who is situated in everyone's heart. Text number 18. Maitreya Uvacha Kritam Treta Dvaparam Cha Kalischeti Chaturyukam Divya Dvadash Shabir Varshai Savadanam Nirupitam. Translation Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Maitreya said, O Vidura, the 4 millenniums are called Satya, Treta, Dvapara and Kali Yuga. The aggregate number of years of all these combined is equal to 12,000 years of the demigods. The years of the demigods are equal to 360 years of humankind. As will be clarified in the subsequent verses, 12,000 of the demigods' years, including the transitional period, which are called Yuga Sandhyas, comprise the total of the aforementioned 4 millenniums. Thus, the aggregate of the above-mentioned 4 millenniums is 4,320,000 years. Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshura Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Krishna Thapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakada Mahyam Dati Swati Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Vidapatakalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sakaryatam Saganirpanata Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadvitam Parijan Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sakarnaita Shri Vishakanvitam Shahe Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpati Kubisha Gulka Kanta Radha Kanta Namostade Taptakanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishapanashte Devi Panamami Haripari Panchakalpataru Pishya Kapasni Dubde Vichapatitanam Bhavne Vaishnavi Panamam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Bhavanithyanta Shri Vedala Vishna Sandhi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Moham Karoli Vachala Bhakka Vedi Pad Muhammad Rishi Guru Detan Parma Shri Chaitanya Ishvara. Hare Krishna. So we see here in sloka number 17 as to how it's mentioned that Vidura is addressing Maitreya Rishi as a very spiritually powerful personality who can understand the moments of eternal time, which is a controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because he says, because you're a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. So the point is that Maitreya Rishi was a great devotee of the Lord, and Vidura is also a great devotee of the Lord. And here we see two great devotees putting questions and answers on various subjects for the benefit of the common man. So many places there are mentioned that time started from the time the Big Bang Theory happened, but Srimad Bhagavatam mentions about time even much before the Big Bang Theory. Now, time is a form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which we discussed in the last class also. And time is something that it is varying from every planet. That is a different time factor. And these details are given in Srimad Bhagavatam. And the lifespan in all these planets is 100 years according to their calculation, not our calculations. We'll come to that, our calculation in text number 80. But this is something that nobody can escape. And even Lord Brahma, who is the secondary creator, has to go through the same cycle of time. And we see that, like time flies like anything. And so many times there are auspicious times, there are inauspicious times. These are all features of the time. And here in this sloka, Vidura is addressing Maitreya as a very spiritual, powerful person. And he does not have to endeavor to try any other process, because the Lord seated as Paramatma directs all the living entities, but those who are surrendered souls, they are fully guided by the Lord. So he says that you are a self-realized soul. So Maitreya Rishi is also a self-realized soul. Vidura was also a self-realized soul. So both are conversing and discussing about this time factor. And Vidura is telling Maitreya Rishi that because he is a self-realized person, he can see everything that is past, present, and future. So those who can see everything within the past, present, and future are called Trikalagnas. Now, Srila Prabhupada is mentioning, is giving us the knowledge about the modern concept of time and Vedic concept. Now, modern concept of time can go up to the second or the part of a second. For example, the lowest is 1 second. It may go 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute. 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour. And 12 hours comprise 1 day. And similarly, 12 hours is 1 night. And then 7 days is 1 week, and 52 weeks make a year. But the Vedic concept goes much beyond that. It's also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. 1 Truti is equal to the time taken to cover an atom, which is the smallest invisible objective. This same in the time, the shortest factor is that which is taken to cover 1 atom. 1 Truti works out to 8 by 13,500 of a second. Now, the time factor may be correct in both the concepts, but here there is a very clearly defined name that is given, that is Truti. Then there is mentioned that 1 Veda is 8 by 1/300, 1 by 1/350th of a second. 1 Lava is 8 by 45th of a second. 1 Nimesha is 8 by 15th of a second. 1 Kshana is 8 by 5 of a second. 1 Kashta is 8 seconds. 1 Lagu is 2 minutes. 1 Davada is 30 minutes. 1 Prahara is 3 hours. 1 day is 12 hours and 1 night is 12 hours. 1 Paksha is 15 days. And it goes on all the way up to the 4 millenniums, that is Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, which we will not find in the modern concept, scientific concept. So this is how the Vedic concepts are described in Srimad Bhagavatam, which are absolutely true. And then again from here, it goes on to explain how 1 cycle of these 4 yugas, that means Satya, Treta, Dwapara, and Kali, they comprise 1 Divya Yuga. 1 cycle is called 1 Divya Yuga. And 1,000 such Divya Yugas make 1 day of Brahma. So imagine how long Brahma lives as per our calculation. We come to that. Brahma lives for 100 years, and Brahma's life is described in Brahma Samhita. The sloka, Yasyaika Nispasisa Kalamathavalambya Jivanti Loma Velaja Jagadanda Nata Vishnur Mahan Chayis Yasya Kala Vishesho Govindamadi Purusham Bhajami. It says, Brahma and other lords of the mundane worlds, appearing from the pores of the hair of Mahavishnu, remain alive as long as the duration of 1 exhalation of the latter, that is Mahavishnu. I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, of whose subjective personality Mahavishnu is the portion of portion. That means Mahavishnu exhales And when he exhales, creation takes place. And when he inhales, annihilation takes place. So that is the lifespan of Brahma. So one exhalation to one inhalation of Sri Mahavishnu is the lifespan of Lord Brahma. And it is also mentioned as to how Mahavishnu himself is an expansion of the expansion. For example, it's mentioned in Bhagavad Brahma Samhita itself. Nidram Ananta Jagadanda Sarvoma Kupaha Adara Shakti Mavalambya Param Samukti. So the translation goes like this: I adore the primeval Lord Govinda, who, assuming his own great subjective form, who bears the name of Shesha, replete with the all-accommodating potency and reposing in the cosmic ocean with the infinity of the world in the pores of the air, enjoys creative sleep, that is Yoga Nidra. That is, Mahavishnu is in his Yoga Nidra on the bed of Shesha. And then in this Yoga Nidra, when we sleep, we can't hear without activity. But when the Lord sleeps, he's in Yoga Nidra and still creation takes place. So this is how powerful the Supreme Lord is. So Mahavishnu is a part, actually it is mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita also, that Krishna expands as Balarama. From Balarama, he further expands as the 4 quadruple expansions, Vasudeva, Sankarshana, Pradyumna, and Ayuddha. From Sankarshana again comes Balaram. From Balarama, there's a second expansion of Chatur, this thing, that is Vasudeva, Sankarshana. And from that Sankarshana comes Sri Mahavishnu, who is lying in the causal ocean, who makes the creation by exhaling. So this is how the whole material creation takes place. And time starts from the moment that the material energy is agitated. Now, when the material creation takes place, at the same time, we'll see that there are so many planets in our material universe also. For example, we see the demigods all live in the Svargaloka, and there are some 33 crore demigods who are looking after so many departments like water, air, fire, etc. So this is how the time factor works. And like I mentioned, Mahavishnu and all his Vishnus are also lying down in the ocean. For example, Karanodakasai Vishnu lies down in the causal ocean. Garbhodakasai Vishnu lies down in the Garbha ocean. And Kshirodakasai Vishnu lies in the ocean of milk. So this is how all the portions of Vishnu, they are all lying down, but still they are active. And Mahavishnu or Karanodakasai Vishnu glances by which he starts the creation. Now, as we see here, Vidura is addressing Maitreya Rishi as a self-realized soul. So when a person becomes self-realized, he does not have to try to attain other yogic, mystic powers or mysticism by which he gets some spiritual power, because devotional service is itself empowers a devotee. When Krishna gives a task to his pure devotee, he also empowers that particular devotee. So it is said that how if we accept the order of Krishna, Krishna empowers that jiva. As long as we are connected to Krishna through gross or subtle platform, it is spiritual. And this process can be upgraded through the process of 9 process, that is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, and so forth. Srila Prabhupada also mentions in one of his classes that we all have mystic powers. For example, the nails grow, hairs grow, we can't understand how they grow. They may be artificial, but naturally it is by mysticism. That's what it's a quote from Srila Prabhupada. Now, in the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 15th chapter, there are a lot of mystic powers described and how to get them. For example, like meditation, prayer, following regulative principles, mudras, intoxication, all these things. Of course, there are other forms of mysticism like Tantra, etc. Tantra means to connect with God. So ultimately, the point is that all these are means to connect with God. But the main ones are given as under, which we'll go through quickly. Through Anima Siddhi, one can become so small that one can enter a stone or pass through any obstacle. I mean, this is one form of the Siddhi, through which one can become very small and can enter even a stone or through any obstacle. Hanuman used this power to enter Sri Lanka, but a woman identified him. So Hanuman used this Siddhi, Hanuman had this Siddhi, and he used this to enter Sri Lanka, but a woman identified him. Then there is something called Mahima Siddhi, in which one becomes so great that one covers everything. For example, Krishna used this Siddhi to kill Trinavarta. He became very heavy and brought him down. So this is one form of Siddhi called Mahima Siddhi. And through Lakima, one becomes so light that one can ride on the sun's rays into the sun planet. This is one. Then the fourth one is mentioned as through Prapti Siddhi, one can acquire anything from anywhere and can even touch the moon with one's finger. By this mystic perfection, one can also enter the senses of any other living entity through the predominating deities of the particular senses. And by thus utilizing the senses of others, one can acquire anything. So the process is given as to how one can get anything, and the name of the Siddhi is Prapti Siddhi. Then there is mention of through Prakamya, one can experience any enjoyable object, either in this world or the next. And through Ishita, the following one, or the controlling potency, one can manipulate the sub-potencies of Maya, which are all material. So in other words, even by acquiring mystic powers, one cannot pass beyond the control of illusion. However, one may manipulate the sub-potencies of illusion. Then it is mentioned through Vashita, or the power to control, one can bring others under one's dominion or keep oneself beyond the control of the 3 modes of nature. Then there is mention of Kama Vasayita. This is the Siddhi, which is the maximum powers of control, acquisition, and enjoyment. Then there is mention of Autpattika, indicates being original, natural, and unexcelled. So these 8 mystic potencies exist in full in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, in a superlative degree. Lord Krishna can become so small that he enters within the atomic particles, and he becomes so large that as Mahavishnu, he breathes out millions of universes. So the Lord can become so light or subtle that even great mystic yogis cannot perceive him. And the Lord's acquisitive power is perfect because he keeps the total existence eternally within his body. So the Lord is full in all these 8 siddhis, and there are many who practice these siddhis to attract others. This is how the people outside wait. The Lord certainly can enjoy whatever he likes, controls all energies, dominate all the other persons, and exhibit complete omnipotency. Therefore, it is to be understood that these 8 mystic perfections are insignificant expansions of the mystic potency of the Lord, who in Bhagavad Gita is called Yogeshwara. So one of the Lord's name is Yogeshwara. He is the master of all these mystic powers. So the point is that these eight mystic perfections are not artificial, but they are natural and unexcelled because they originally exist in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Apart from this, there are many other secondary mystic powers, like remaining free from hunger and thirst for many days, moving the body at a very fast pace, attaining a time that one desires, seeing demigods and apsaras in the heavenly planets. Like this, there are so many other secondary siddhis. What we discussed before was the primary siddhis, and then those, and of course, there are many of these secondary siddhis also. But a devotee does not have to practice these mystic powers because the Lord, as Paramatma, guides the pure devotees as per Srimad Bhagavatam. And those who are in this way, who are able to see the past, present, and future, they are called Trikalagnas. Now, Srila Prabhupada's quote, are there a few quotes on this subject. He says that yogis can take bath in the holy places that we normally we call Chardham, that is Badrinath, Dwarka, Jagannath Puri, and Rameshwaram. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the yogis can take bath in these holy places simultaneously at the same time. I mean, we can't be present on all these four places at the same time. But yogis who practice this for this mystic power and all, they can enter these at the same time. Srila Prabhupada also mentions that many of these yogis enter into one river and come out of the other river, and which he has seen this himself. So the science is true. Some more examples are given as to how in Treta Hanuman swallowed the sun planet, thinking it to be a ripe mango. And the sun was crying because he was in the belly of Hanuman. Now, devotees use these mystic powers for the service of Krishna, but demons and ghosts also have these mystic powers, and they use it, misuse it. For example, Ravana took mystic power to kidnap, used mystic power to kidnap Sita, but Vibhishna discovered it. Ravana, in fact, cut his head and offered it to the sacrificial fire. So similarly, many demons perform austerities to get this power. For example, Putana used her, it is said that Putana used her powers to attract Rama. She tried to become a very beautiful woman in front of Lord Rama and attract him, but Lord did not get attracted. The way a common man tries to achieve these mystic powers are that they try to, there are many ways, like for example, austerity, meditation, so many other methods are there to attain these mystic powers. Sometimes, for example, in the previous birth, there's a possibility of someone having taken birth with and performed a lot of austerities. So that also can give them some mystic powers in the current life. But irrespective of whatever it is, Srila Prabhupada quotes that this mystic power is nothing but an illusion within an illusion. The point is that material world itself is an illusion. And trying to create a mystic power within this illusory material world is another illusion, because we get carried away by these things which are not very important. The ultimate goal of human life is to reach the abode of the Lord or his incarnations by pure devotion service. Devotees don't have to specially endeavor to try any of these mystic powers. They are already empowered. And they have these, but they never display these even if they have it. So it is said that devotional service is surpasses all other forms of science like mystic power, astrology, etc. Now coming back to this subject, time is nothing but a glance of Sri Mahavishnu. When Lord Mahavishnu glances, time starts manifesting. Material energy is agitated, which is none other than Lord Shiva, who is known as Mahakaleshwar. And all the material ingredients start moving and creation takes place on time. So this is how time is manifested. the denizens of the higher planets up to Swargaloka, for example, those in the Swargaloka, the demigods, for example, we are very fortunate to get this human form of life because it is possible for us to understand these aspects of time in this particular human form. Because the demigods, there are more than 33 crore demigods, each one busy with their opulence, and they are so engaged that they don't have even time to think. So it is said that as in the human form of life, we are very fortunate to have this understanding of what is time and how it affects everyone. In fact, there is a quote in Srimad Bhagavatam that the demigods want to take birth in the human form of life in earthly planets because they feel that for the humans in the earthly planet, it is easily possible to enter into Krishna's pastime and go back to the spiritual world. And particularly in an age of Kali, where Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared, it is said that we can enter into Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, who is much more merciful than Lord Shri Krishna. And once we enter into Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, it is easier to enter into Krishna's pastime in Vrindavan. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears once in a day of Brahma. So we'll come to this. Now, 1 day of Brahma is equal to 1,000 Yuga cycles. That is, I mentioned about Satya Yuga, Tirtha Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The cycle of 4 of these is called one Divya Yuga. And 1,000 such Divya Yugas comprise 1 day of Brahma. So this is how Brahma's lifespan is so long. And he lives for 100 years as per their calculation. Come to his 100 years as per our calculation. So we are very fortunate because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this Kali Yuga 500 years before. Then it so happened, of course, that after Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, many of his teachings got lost, and then Srila Prabhupada revived the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, coming back to the subject of this devotional service being very, very powerful, devotees know and devotees have mystic powers, but they don't exhibit, because one thing is that they don't utilize these mystic powers unless it is used in the service, it can be used in the service of Krishna. And Srila Rupa Goswami also states in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Anyamilashta Susam Jnana Karmatila Aptam. So devotees follow the path of pure devotional service only to please Krishna. That's all. Not to exhibit any opulence or any power, etc. So therefore, devotees are not interested in these mystic siddhis, because ultimate goal of life is to reach the abode of Krishna or his incarnations. And that can be done by performing pure devotional service. And also, devotees know that if they exhibit these mystic siddhis, a common man will get carried away by these siddhis rather than being carried away by devotional service. So devotees are not interested in becoming popular, and they are not interested in exhibiting these mystic powers, even if they have. On the other hand, they feel that these are impediments in the path of devotional service. And pure devotees are interested more in solving the problems of life, that is to become free from the cycle of birth and death, not to exhibit some powers, special powers and all those things. And Srimad Bhagavatam gives full information about the past, about the present, and about the future also in each of these yugas, like Satya Yuga, Tirtha Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga, in terms of both material as spiritual aspects. Now, Vyasadeva was an empowered incarnation, And he was a Trikala Yajna. He could see the past, present, and future. And he has mentioned, based on that, that is how he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam. In fact, he mentions as to who appear as the father and mother of Kalki Avatar when the Lord appears as Kalki. So Srimad Bhagavatam mentions all about the past, the present, and also the future. Srila Prabhupada also had many of these mystic powers, but he never exhibited. And many times devotees would ask him as to regarding the powers that Srila Prabhupada had, but he always said that he doesn't have. In fact, at one time he said that he was in the spiritual world and he was asked by Krishna to come and write books on Krishna himself. It is said that Rishabdev was also one such personality of a Trikala Yajna. And the power that he had was that his stool was so fragrant that it could be, it was spreading the fragrance for miles away, miles far off. And like I mentioned before, many times people might have performed some tapasya in the previous life and they might be endowed with these powers. So one time it is said that a devotee wrote to Srila Prabhupada about his previous life, and Srila Prabhupada told that as per an astrologer, he was a physician in a previous life and he never exploited anybody. Like we see doctors today, they exploit a patient, but Srila Prabhupada was a physician and he never exploited anybody. We will come to sloka number 18, which mentions about the life of various yugas. For example, Satya Yuga is 4,800 of demigod years. Treta Yuga is 3,600 of demigod years. Dwapara Yuga is 2,400 years of the demigods. And Kali Yuga is 1,200 years of the demigods. So total works out to 12,000 years of the demigods. And these include the Yuga Sandhyas. And all total comes to 4,320,000 years of, based on human calculation. And between these yugas, there is something called a Yuga Sandhya. And it is said that the duration of that is 10% of both the yugas, previous and the forthcoming one. So 1 year of demigod is equal to 360 human years. For example, it is said that as per modern science, time is calculated from the smallest, which is the time taken to cover an atom, up to the time of the demigods. As per modern science, the Earth and all the planets revolve around the sun. As per Vedic science, time is given from 8 by 13,500 of a second, which is called 1 triti, which is the time taken to cover an atom. So modern science gives 1 year, whereas Vedic science gives time duration up to yugas also. Therefore, Vedic concept of time is considered to be much more higher or superior than the what scientists has given. When the sun is in the northern sphere, it is called Uttarayana. It is the day of the demigods. And when the sun is the southern sphere, it is called Dakshinayana, which is the night of the demigods. And what is 1 year for us is 1 day for the demigods. And 1 year of the demigods comes to 360 years of the humans. So 12,000 years of the demigods comprise 1 yuga. So Satya Yuga, we said, is 4,800 years of the demigods, and multiplied by 360 for human calculation is 1,728,000 years by human years. Treta Yuga is 3,600 years of the demigods multiplied by 360 to come to calculation of human calculation, 1,296,000 years as per human calculation. Dwapara is 2,400 years the demigods into 360 works out to 864,000 years of the humans. And Kali Yuga is 1,200 into 360, which comes out to 432,000 years as per human calculation. So this is how the duration of cycle works for the demigods. When Brahma goes to sleep, like we go to sleep, Brahma also goes to sleep. All the lower planetary systems up to Swargaloka are annihilated by the fire that is coming out of Lord Shankarshna's mouth. Actually, Lord Shankarshna gets very upset because the jivas don't take to the devotional service to the Supreme Lord. So he becomes very angry and he generates some fire from his mouth by which all the lower planetary systems up to Swargaloka, that is the place where even demigods live, they are all annihilated. So this is what is called a partial annihilation. This happens when Brahma goes to sleep. Whereas Maharloka, Janaloka, Tarpaloka and Satyaloka remain. These are the ones above Swargaloka. But the heat that comes out of at that time is so much that sages who are like Brigamuni, who are in Maharloka, they go to the higher planets like Janaloka and beyond. So this is how the partial annihilation takes place. Not only that, Brahma, one day, Brahma, the life of each Manu is 1,000 by 14. That means I mentioned 1,000 Divya cycle is 1 day of Brahma, which is called the Kalpa. Now it is actually the Manus from whom mankind is originated. Also, it is mentioned as to how all these details of time are given in the Vedas, but the Vedas may be difficult for us to understand, and some substance of the Vedas is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, Vedas are called Apaurushaya because they are given by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they have given the truth. There might be sometimes some contradictions in these Vedas, but then they're all perfectly true. The contradictions are like regarding the stool of any form is impure, but cow dung is pure and can purify anyone and anything. Similarly, bones are considered impure, but the Shankha or conch shell is considered to be very pure, which is a bone of an aquatic. But the sound vibration that comes out of the Shankha can purify even a temple. That is how pure the conch shell is. It is said that the cow dung has a lot of antiseptic properties, which modern day scientists have agreed to. Now, we cannot judge what is right and what is wrong. We have to accept the Vedic conclusions. So similarly, there are many other means to attain these mystic powers. one way it is mentioned is that how celibacy increases memory, willpower, etc. of the human beings. So we might find many yogis who have observed this celibacy, by which they might become somewhat powerful, and many might exhibit also. Now, we are all children of God, and by constitutional position, we are bound to serve Krishna. And when we don't serve Krishna to please him, we take birth in this material world. So all these sciences regarding the mystic power, the creation, annihilation, are all given for us to understand the purpose and importance of human life. Now, as I mentioned earlier, demigods are also there. But the thing is, they have got so much of an opulence and so busy with this thing that they don't even get time to think of the Supreme Lord. Whereas we as humans have got enough time, and the Lord has given us the intelligence to understand the value of human life also, and the importance of time. That is very important. We have all these details that are given. That's all right. But then the point is that we can live a longer life by going to Satyaloka, and still a longer life by going to Jnanaloka, Tapaloka, Satyaloka, Brahmaloka, and all those things. But the point is that irrespective of where we are, we have to be in the position of serving Krishna. There is no other thing for us other than to serve Krishna. And as long as we are hesitant to serve the Lord, we will be like prisoners in this material world. So that's why Srila Prabhupada said that this material world itself is like an illusion. And within this illusion, we have got one more illusion, which is this, what you call mystic power. So devotees are not interested in exhibiting this mystic power, even if they have it, but they are interested in exhibiting pure devotional service, by which they all can go back to Godhead, which is the ultimate goal of life. And the goal of life is not to show some magic that I'm sleeping over 1,000 nails, like which many yogis try to show. But all these mystic powers are given to please Krishna. So if there is a way that we can please Krishna by using it in his service, there's nothing wrong in exhibiting these powers. But normally pure devotees are not interested in exhibiting, even if they have it. Now, one more point that is mentioned is that as to how Krishna controls this entire creation in the form of time. See, time works so very nicely under the control of Krishna that the sun rises on time, it sets on time. 1 minute the sun does not deviate, and everything happens on time. For example, we might see that, for example, we see that it has been raining in Bangalore for a very long time. And this happens because this is how the Lord wants it to be. Not that, for example, many times we might see the weather forecast, and these weather forecasts can go wrong, but the rising of the sun and setting of the sun does not change it, because it remains under the control of the Lord. So anything that is there under our in the human form of life that we have, we cannot change or we cannot control things. But the Lord, as time, controls every aspect of this material creation, right from the creation all the way up to annihilation. That's how the Lord controls as time factor. And we don't have any control over these times. We might want to exhibit if we have some mystic power, but the thing is that we don't have any control on time factor. So with this, I come to the conclusion of today's class. Devotees have any questions, any comments, I can take them for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Any questions? Any comments? Has everyone understood what I have explained in terms of the time factor and the mystic power and all these things? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Prabhu. Dandavat Prabhuji.
Very, very nicely explained, Prabhu. Very clear. Loud and clear.
Okay.
Right. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Okay.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
so much. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu, you have a comment, question? Any questions, Prabhu? Can I take the class as concluded if there are no questions, no comments? Any further? Can I leave then?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you.
Hare
Thank you all
Krishna.
very much.
Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki.
Jai.
Jai.